Hello again, Mick talking about books and paperbacks. Welcome back. This is part 2 of my Banner book collection, Banner Books UK, published by L. Miller, and this is on to part 2. So if you weren't riveted enough by part 1, I'm going to rivet you again with part 2. Loads more books, starting towards the end of 59 into the early 60s. And the first Banner book is by Jim Thompson. And as I go through the set, you'll see that there are some differences in artwork, some good, some not so good, but still a great collection of books. And yeah, come along with me. Let's check out Banner Books Part 2. Hi everybody, welcome back to Part 2 of Banner Books UK, published by L. Miller. So we finished up the part 1 video at about, I think it was number 90 by Willie Dayton, and then we're coming straight on to we're going into the latter part of 1959 now, starting with number 92, and this is A Hell of a Woman by Jim Thompson. Yeah, my copy's it's a little bit tired. It's the only one I've ever seen on Banner. I've seen the line book copy a few times online and a couple of shows, but not the Banner book version, which is the UK one. So quite tough to get, and as soon as I saw this, I snapped it up. And that's number 92 by Jim Thompson, who is a very sought after writer, and a nice yellow surround on the back here. Banner Books UK. Artwork there's by Morgan Kane. Excellent artwork, top notch. Hell of a woman. And then again, as Banner were doing during this period, they were thrillers into war and into westerns. You can see a couple of westerns in the background there, and you'll notice as we go through this part 2 that you'll see that westerns become the mainstay of their output. Must have been selling really well in the late 50s, early 60s, I suppose, due to the TV demands and films that were out at the time, you know, Bonanza, that sort of thing. I think it was just a really popular novel to read for young men and women, I take it. But anyway, Platoon. 40 desperate men fought savagely for a hill 40,000 couldn't take. Great artwork by Clark Hullings. A tough book to find on the line books version. I think that came out in 56, but this one's even tougher. Banner Books UK version. Very nice artwork, and a pretty nice copy as well. Number 95. When we're still into 1959 at this point. Right, back to westerns for Banner. They went to a little novel by Logan Stewart, who was actually Philip Wilding. That was a pseudonym he used because Philip Wilding doesn't sound very Wild West, so he went for Logan Stewart. The Man from Spanish Creek. Artwork by Mick Anglo. Anyone who knows their British comic books in the 50s into the 60s knows Mick Anglo. I think something to do with Marvel Man, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. My copy here, again, is a little bit tired. Again, the only one I've ever seen on Banner. And a nice little western. Number 96, and we still are 1959 around this point, so mid 59. And then I was talking about some of the artwork being, I don't like to use the word dodgy because art is in the eye of the beholder, but I think you'll agree. The Wild Grass, which was by Harry Sinclair Drago, which is it is a Wild West book. And this is number 98, and it was originally a perma book with an alternative cover. So you can see there, this artwork is by a guy we're going to come across a few times in the next few books and into the 60s. Clark's Pierce done the artwork for this. I'm not too sure about Clark's Pierce. He was probably a lovely gentleman, but artwork wise, it wasn't the best, but I'm sure he tried. Again, my copy's not too bad. I've seen a couple of versions of this, a couple of copies of this in the past, but this version that I've got, this copy I've got, is the best one I've seen. So I've never actually bought a better copy. This is a little bit wild, but a few creases on the front, but a good book to happen. There's his little Clark's Pierce just down the bottom. He did sign his work, so he was very brave. Clark's Pierce again with the House of Evil. Two authors here, Clary and Michelle Lippmann. For this Banner Book edition, this is number 99. Originally a line book 231 with that title book with an alternative cover. This is obviously Clark's Pierce. I would imagine would be a UK artist. A little bit saucy. You can just make out some shapes through her lovely red negligee. It's a very nice copy. I did upgrade on this particular one. So this book, you can find it every now and then. It does pop up. But again, Clark's Pierce. The artwork, to be fair, this is a step up for Mr. Pierce. He done very well with the blonde lady here. Good bit of good girl art. And you can just see his little signature down the bottom there, Clark's Pierce. Yeah, very nice book. I must get to read it one day. I've never read it, but and going to the back, it says they're 1950, 1960. It's actually 59, and a really nice book. So that's Banner Books 99, House of Evil. Now, Wallace Ware, A Brotherhood of Velvet. I think there's some sort of sexual connotations here, shall we say. Wallace Ware, of course, was David Karp. This was originally a line book as well, but with an alternative cover. So this is the first time this cover's been used. I am not sure who the artist is here. I don't believe it's Clark's Pierce. It's unknown. But a nice copy. This is, I don't actually have number 100, which is Stage City by Jefferson Fraser. This is 101 in the Banner Book series, The Brotherhood of Velvet. And a lady there with stockings and suspenders, and she's obviously shocked the poor gentleman because he seems quite worried about it. And then we're on to The Girl on Crown Street, my apologies. By Wallace Ware. Again, David Karp, using his pseudonym of Wallace Ware. Again, it was a line book with alternative artwork. Again, we're using a British artist here. We've already heard him once, actually a writer. This is Philip Wilding with the artwork on this one. And a decent job it is too. Really good girl art. Got everything you need there in a good thriller. A violent story of crime and passion. And there's a fellow with a gun while the poor lady sleeps. Yeah, not a bad little copy. Got some writing on the front there, and number 102, and it's not too bad a copy. Again, this particular book you can see this a few times online and at various shows. So if you do see one in good condition, I would pick it up. And again, Philip Wilding, this time as the author. And also done the artwork as well. Multitasking was Mr. Wilding. And this is a lovely looking cover and a lovely looking book. Murder with Merit. This is number 103. Really good girl art. And a really nice looking copy as well. 103. Murder with Merit. Very nice. So Banner Book still had some good artwork going on and still had some good authors. But as we go through, you'll see there will be a slight decline, which is a shame, really, because they're lovely books. This one's Tough Outfit, going back to our westerns with Logan Stewart again, which is also known as Philip Wilding. So he's very popular at this time with the L. Miller group, and they're sticking with Philip, either artwork or his writing. Tough Outfit, western, young lady on the front there with a firing a gun, and the artwork, of course, is so not only did he Is he writing stuff? He's also doing the artwork as well. And there again, you can just see down the bottom there, there's his signature for the artwork. So that's a tough outfit. That's 104. And we're still in 59 at this point. So 1959, and Banner are pumping out lots of books at this point. On to Hard Man. Again, a good old crime thriller. Wallace Ware again. So this is David Karp, using his pseudonym of Wallace Ware. Originally a line book again, number 119, but again with alternative art. And this artwork is by, of course, Philip Wilding. And very good it is too. It's not too bad. It's got a sort of Henry Fox feel about it, with the gentleman in sort of the green face looking down on the buxom lady. But yeah, it's a good look bit of art. My copy's a little bit tired, as you can see. Got some creases on there, and there's Philip Wilding's signature at the bottom there. Very nice, and that's 105. The Murder of Anne Avery's next in my little list, by Henry Kuttner. Originally by Perma Books with alternative cover. And we're still in 1959 at this point. I think the guy looks like Gregory Peck in the foreground, but I don't know. I'm unsure of the artwork on this one as well. I've got a few ideas, but I'm really not sure. But a nice book. And when you do see this, it's quite expensive. Number 106. The Murder of Anne Avery. A psychoanalyst solves brutal slaying. Crime thriller. Back to westerns now. Not a bad copy. This one. It's got a bit of a lean to. It's got a bit of a roll on the spine, but it's a decent enough copybook. Three Shells to Quit by Lance Carson. I don't know whose pseudonym that is, but that can't be a real name. It's probably Philip Wilding again, but I don't know. But good art on this one. I'm not sure who it's by, the artwork, but pretty decent stuff. And that's number 107. So we're back to the Wild West. And at this point, I'm pretty sure that Bandit Hunter was 1960. I've read a few things about this particular book, and I'm pretty sure it's a 1960 book. So we're into the 60s, into the swinging 60s, with The Bandit Hunter by Logan Stewart. Of course, so that's Philip Wilding again, using his pseudonym. And the artwork is, of course, by Philip Wilding. Nice bit of art, Wild West, cowboy, pink shirt, and a nice looking book. Got a few little creases here and there, but not a bad copy. Number 109. And on the back, we've still got that yellow surround with the Banner Books colophon, bottom left. Now, let's go to Die Screaming. And if anybody knows anything about artwork of British paperbacks in the 50s into the 60s, knows that Ray Theobald is one of my favourites. There's something about his artwork that just I can spot it a mile off. I'm sure, like most book people can. He's really good at setting the scene. He's really good at his direction of eyes, and the artwork of the gentleman is always great. He just wasn't very good at doing the ladies. Excuse my French. They all look like but they just didn't look very pretty most of the time. Bless him. But he was a good artist, and I really like collecting Ray Theobald stuff. And this is Die Screaming, number 110 in Banner Books by Joe Pagano. Originally it was by Zenith Books in with an alternative cover, sorry. But yeah, it's a lovely book, and this particular copy is in exceptional condition. Number 110. Die Screaming. Very nice. Right, back to westerns again. Missing Yeah, no, we're on to 111 now. Of course we are. Gun Business by Tom Curtis. Again, Ray Theobald artwork. The cowboy looks great, and then you get to the lady and you think, oh, bless her. It looks like just a bloke with a wig on, but anyway, I really love his artwork. I'm just saying, I think if he spent a bit more time on the female characters, I think they would be really sought after artwork. But it is what it is. This one's by Tom Curtis, originally published in '58, with alternative artwork. But yeah, Wild West. My spine has gone at the bottom there, but it definitely is number 111. So we're still in 1960, and 112 of Missing Persons by David Goodis. Now there's an author everyone's seeking out. Great crime thriller writer. And the artwork is by Ray Theobald, so you can see there's his typical gentleman look. And then, to be fair to Ray, let's give him some props here. That's not a bad looking redhead lady. He done okay on that one. But again, it's a David Goodis book, so this one does go for good money if it does pop up. And this is 112. Here we go. We've got a few to go before we get to the end, and you'll see now we really are into Wild West territory. There's they don't deviate too much from here now. This is Settlement in Lead by Lance Carson, again obviously a pseudonym, and that Ray Theobald artwork, very nice. I like his artwork. This copy's got a few creases on the front there, but overall a nice copy to have. 113. Yeah, shame about the creases, never mind. Another Western, Stirrups in the Dust. This artwork's been used before. I'm pretty sure it was used on a Signet book. Possibly around that time, by Bert Arthur. He's a very, very well-known author of Westerns right from the 30s right the way through to the 1960s. This artwork's by Jay Coppin, very nice as well. Stirrups in the Dust, not a bad copy. It's got a slight roll on the spine, and there it is. 114, 1960. Stirrups in the Dust. That is decent artwork there. The Missouri Maiden. It is a Western tale. You can see the steamboat behind her. By C. William Harrison. Was a Lion Books copy before, but it had an alternative cover. So the artwork here, I'm unsure where this comes from originally, but yeah, so it's a decent enough cover. The artwork's very good. My copy's a little bit tired, and that's 115. You can just make out the 15, but it's not number 15. It's 115. And then back to Philip Wilding with some great artwork and also great writing. This one's got a really unfortunate tear just on her hair. I'm always on the lookout for a better copy for this one. Murder with Honour. Yeah, very nice artwork by Philip Wilding. He knew what he was doing. He was a good artist, and obviously quite a good author as well, because he kept getting his books published. So that's Banner Books. Shame about that little bit of tear on the cover there. And that's 116 in the Banner Books series. 116, 1960. Okay, just a few to go before we reach the very end. More artwork by Jay Coppin. Triggerman, Bert Arthur, who was used that as a pseudonym. His full name was Herbert Arthur Shapiro. And again, this is coming from a Signet book, the original title, but again with alternative cover artwork. But that cowboy artwork is very nice indeed. Very, very good. Not a bad copy as well. Nice condition, slight roll, But yeah, 117. We've still got the yellow one-man law at the back, and the yellow surround Banner Books colophon. Another Western, The Drifter. He was a fiddlefoot with an itchy, triggy finger, which is quite hard to say if you've had a few pints. But thankfully, I'm sober. Again, by Bert Arthur. I'm not sure who the artist is on this, but it is decent art. There's no signature that I can make out on there. But great Wild West, moody-looking gunman. Bert Arthur, prolific Western writer around that time. And 118 in the Banner Book series. So we just got 3 to go. All Westerns. Killer's Crossing by Bert Arthur. Not sure who the artist is on this one here. There is a signature down the bottom there. I can't quite work out who that could be. If you do know, let me know in the comments. But a good old Western. There's a cowboy and a Native American Indian having a good old scrap in the background, and she looks quite worried. But yeah, decent artwork there on 119. Here we go, just the 2 to go. This is Buckaroo, again by Bert Arthur. He was obviously the inn name at the time, and his books were obviously selling well, and they thought, let's just keep going with some rehashing some old Bert Arthur Western stories. This one's called The Buckaroo, published by Signet Books originally in 1950 with an alternative cover. But there you go. There's artwork again. I'm not too sure who that would be. It was like T, M, and D. I'm not sure. Not great artwork, but it's pretty good, and the book's in fair condition. Not the best. And that's number 120. And that brings us on to the very final book in the Banner series. I don't believe there's anything past 121. I've not seen a copy higher number than 121. And this is Texas Sheriff. I think out of all the Western artwork in the Banner series, Banner Book series, this is the one I love the best. This is artwork by J. Coppin again. You can just see his signature just there. And I think it's great. Great colours, really vivid yellows and reds. Banner Books by Bert Arthur. And this is the last one in the series. I don't know why they stopped, or if indeed 121 was the last one. If anyone knows of a higher number, I would really like to know. But I think a great one to finish on. If that was if they were bowing out of publications as Banner at this point, what a great piece of artwork to go out on. And a great title as well. A good, old-fashioned, proper Western. Anyway, that's my collection of Banner books. If you have any Banner books that you haven't seen here, let me know. We can talk. And I hope you've enjoyed it. A great series of books. If you see them in good condition, get them, enjoy them, and if you can, give them a read. Anyway, hope to see you again soon. I'm going to be going on to possibly the Red Seals, also published by L. Miller. So maybe we'll do Red Seals, the UK Red Seals next. Who knows? It's a mystery. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, and hope to see you soon.